members to the current 28. So now we're on the same page, we'd like to move on to what's happening right now in the observation 2, the status quo. Now our first point under status quo is that NATO is expanding. Status quo, NATO expansion. Now right now NATO has an open door policy, which basically states any country can join as long as it meets the NATO requirements. According to the NATO website Access this month, the enlargement of the alliance is an ongoing and documented process. Now, the next major event we would like to draw your attention to is that the United States actually supports this expansion, as we see in Status Quo 1 2. U.S. support. According to the Center for Research on Globalization in 2009, the United States has supported bringing countries into NATO. Now, trying to keep the world safe against Russia sounds like a good idea, doesn't it? Actually, there's some major problems with our current policy. Other than these observations through the harms, or basically what's wrong with the current system. Now, our first harm is that of terrorism. Now, NATO has standards. One of those standards is for small arms, such as assault rifles. When countries join NATO, they now have access to a whole new variety of more advanced weapons. The old ones have to go somewhere, and they usually end up being sold in bulk. The problem is that these often end up in the wrong hands. Let's take a look at what the Originated news source had to say. They referenced one of their articles in 2010 when they said, quote, ex-Soviet and Warsaw-backed countries that are joining NATO get rid of their Soviet/Russian equipment as they buy Western equipment. And of course, Afghanistan is where many of these arms end up. Ultimately, adding more countries to NATO means giving our enemies weapons. And this means more dead servicemen and women. Now, another problem with expansion is that Russia doesn't like us trying to be their big brother, as we see in Harm 2. Expansion. Now, under the Harm engine, we have two subpoints. The first one is going to explain why is called expansion, and that's because Russia feels threatened. Subpoint A, expansion is threatening. According to Reuters News in 2010, President Dmitry Medvedev, who's the president of Russia, approved Friday a new military doctrine identifying NATO expansion as a national threat and reaffirming Russia's right to use nuclear weapons if the country's existence is threatened. Not only do we make Russia feel uncomfortable, but we end up pushing them away, as we can see in subpoint B, pushing away Russia. According to Cato Institute in 2009, but President Obama also reconsidered NATO expansion more generally. No less a Russian expert than George F. Kennan warned in 1997 that it would constitute the most fateful error in American policy in the entire post-Cold War era, because it would inflame Russian militarism, stifle democracy, and generally impel Russian foreign policy in directions not to our liking. Now, the third harm is that of tied hands. And this is because we have to live in a mutual defense treaty. And we have to defend instead of not defend. And that's our first subpoint under tied hands. Must defend. According to Stanley Coker's PhD, quote, the United States is obligated to defend any NATO member that is a victim of aggression. We can see the problem with this in subpoint B under tied hands. And that these countries are difficult to defend. According to the same source, expansion of NATO eastward, however, is something else altogether. The further east one goes, the greater the potential Russian military threat, and the harder the NATO conventional defense. As already noted with regard to Baltic states, it is difficult to imagine how NATO could mount effective conventional defense at all. To paraphrase what Frederick the Great once said, to defend everything is to defend nothing. And for this reason, we would like to present observations for the plan. Now, just to give you a few specifics on what we're going to be doing, our agency and enforcement is Congress, the President, and any other necessary federal agencies. And our mandate is this: freeze expansion toward Russia. The United States will veto any movement to add former Soviet former allies of the Soviet Union. Our timeline is amazing. So now let's take a look at whether this will actually solve a problem in observation 5, solving. Our first challenge of solvency is that the United States acts as the veto power of NATO. Solvency point 1, veto power. According to the North Atlantic Treaty, in Article 10, states, quote, the parties may by unanimous agreement invite any other European state in position to further the principles of this treaty. Our second solving point is that of improved relations. Improved relations. According to Roger McDermott, who is a senior fellow at Eurasian Military Affairs, said in 2010, President Barack Obama's reset policy with Russia faces major long-term challenges, particularly in relation to the issue of NATO enlargement. The new Russian military doctrine identifying NATO enlargement as a main military external threat confronting the country is unsurprising. No one likes a big brother, or anyone for that matter, looking over their shoulder. Fortunately, my brother and I have a lot better relationships than we used to. And this is what the United States needs. We need to realize the consequences of our actions and screen further NATO expansion. So I think we should go further. Now comes Dr. Mitchell.
So my first question is, the countries, two main countries that have not joined NATO right now that want to join NATO?
Yes, there are several different countries such as Georgia, Ukraine, Bosnia, Montenegro.
Now, I recognize that any evidence of expansion of these countries would increase terrorism.
But those countries are terrorism? Yes. No, not those countries.
Okay, so it only happened in the past few countries, correct?
Yes, we've seen good historical precedent.
Yeah, no proof that if on expansion of these countries that terrorism will continue to happen.
Well, you can't be 100% sure, but all of the past precedents show that it does happen.
Okay, thank you. Now, you said that they need to do weapons, correct?
Yes, they could be terrorists.
How do you see examples of new weapons for terrorism?
Only plenty of terrorists use weapons for it.
Okay, do you understand that they're not destroying them or trying to sell them to other people?
Storing them or selling to other people.
Have one.
We have evidence that this goes specifically to terrorists.
To terrorists. Do terrorists sell weapons to make money?
No, because they want to keep the weapons they can use them.
Okay, thank you. Now, what is the harm of Russia feeling that?
Russia doing that? Well, Russia is a major world power. They ultimately, their policy to affect our national security record.
Okay, thank you. Now, has Russia ever attacked the United States?
Ever attacked us? Not specifically.
Has Russia ever pledged to attack the United States?
Well, we were in the Cold War and various things, various conflicts.
Has Russia ever planned to attack or pledged to attack the United States?
Not recently.
Okay, thank you. Now, would Russia be more likely to attack one nation or 29 nations?
Are you talking about how many?
Would they be more likely to attack one nation? Would they be more likely to attack 29 nations?
Probably the one nation, but not this is a major actor.
Okay, thank you. Now, upon your plans, do you see those expansion forever?
For those specific countries.
For all the specific countries forever?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now, what is the purpose of NATO?
The purpose of NATO is to defend against Russia.
Defend against Russia, okay. So we're going to let Russia dictate a policy that will make it to defend against it?
No, we're not letting Russia dictate
That's how Russia feels bad about it, so therefore we're going to take it into the policy. Mention that in the first opening part of your speech. Correct?
Yes. Russia is a major military actor, or not necessarily. They're a world power who need to take their, what they're doing and dictate our foreign policies for Russia.
Okay. Thank you. Now, in policy point 2, you point out where it says, upon increasing expansion relations military.
Well, this is making Russia very rich in the best.
I would say that doing this improve relations.
Well, we're removing major in our relations.